Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to KT Garage. Today we're going to work on a BMW X5 2016 front brakes. I got a quote from Firestone to get this done, and they're asking for almost $1,100, which is way too much for a brake job. I went and get parts myself, quality parts from O'Reilly, including a OEM wear sensor for under $300. So I'm going to save myself at least $800 by doing this job. So I'm going to walk through step by step on how it gets done for you guys to follow, so you can save yourself some big money. Okay, so since I have a lift, I'm using it, but you guys always can use your jack stands to do the job. So first thing first, I lift it up just a little bit, wheel still on the ground. I'm gonna use a 17mm socket to just break the nuts loose, but don't back them out. Just so when you raise it off the ground, you're able to get the nuts out and get your wheels out. Okay, so now the wheels are off. It's time to get the calipers out. And the caliper is really easy to get out, and there's only two bolts out back that you need to remove, and they are right behind here. There's one here that you can see just right from the top, and there's another one on the bottom, which is like right here. So you take those two bolts out. It takes a 14mm, and you just use a wrench like this, remove those two bolts, and you're just gonna hang this up. Then we're gonna try to get the rotor out for them to remachine. You still can reuse the rotor, you just have to have them remachined for a nice and smooth surface. Okay, so these are the two bolts I showed you before. That takes the 14mm socket to get them out. These are like really hard to get them out, so you're gonna have to use some kind of a cheater bar. So I have this ratchet right here, and then I just use a small fence post that I have laying around for a cheater bar, and it works out just fine. Or you can just use a breaker bar that is longer. It'll work the same way. So you can see that now the caliper is off. You can hang it or put it on something. I just have these pieces of wood laying around, and it's easier for me just to get it and support it that way. So this is sitting on that piece of wood, and now all I need to do is just take this rotor out to get them resurfaced. And there's a bolt that bolts this whole thing in place. You gotta take them out. It takes a 6mm Allen wrench to get them out. After you get this out, you should be able to just get the rotor out and get them to resurface. Now you gotta get this done first, because it's gonna take a few hours for them to machine it. Then you come back to the house and start, put the new brakes on and get the caliper ready for reinstallation. Well guys, the rotor come out real easy. Now I just spray a little bit of WD-40 around this area. Now I let it soak for just a few minutes. Then I use a hammer, but take it real easy and just tap into here. Never touch your hammer on where the brakes are at, but you can tap it like that, just around there, just to break the rust behind it, and let the WD-40 soak in, and it comes right out. I just use like this piece of wood here, and then just lightly tap with my hammer, so that the hammer should never touch this steel surface. It will damage it. If you have a mallet, that's great. I do have a bunch of mallet that's out in my shop, so don't feel like going out there and get it, but you can just do what I did and it'll come right out. So I'll go ahead and get the other side done, take these two rotors to the store, get them resurfaced. We'll come back and service the caliper and get it ready. Okay, so there's only one wear sensor out of the two sides. So I picked the side, the driver side, with a wear sensor. So I'm sure you guys how to do it. The other side is a little more simple because it doesn't have this wear sensor. So the first thing you need to do is just like remove these two from this bracket to make it easier to work with. With this right here, you just use the screwdriver and kind of just pry out this little bracket here, and it should like come out. And then I'm gonna have to put the phone down for this, but basically just pry this out, bring it up, and then you can free this from this assembly. Make it easier to move the caliper out here to work on. Okay, so after I pop this out, the wear sensors right here, just bring it up. And then back here, the wear sensors are hooked up to here. I popped this out. So then sensor goes to here. See if I can just pull this out. Hang on a second. Okay, so here. Okay, so that's out. You can see the brackets is right there. It plugged up. Let's see if I can get some lights on it. Okay, so this sensor plugged up to here. So we'll go ahead and disconnect it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to put my phone down for this one, but I believe you just like pull it straight out. Okay, so as it turns out, you gotta pop this lid out. There's a couple of hinges here, or latch here. Then inside, you can just like pull this piece out, and here's your connector. You gotta get a screwdriver, and actually I just push on it and get it out, I think. Well, again, I can't do it with one hand, so I'll put the phone down, but basically you just unlatch this and then pull this connector out. Okay, and like what I suspected, I just like lift this up a little bit, and then this comes right out. And this is a new cable, by the way, replaced with a new cable. I'm gonna pop this back on. There we go. So now I put this new cable back to where the other one was. I'm just gonna loop this right under there, and then I'm popping it to here, and then my new one will be ready. Okay, so getting these out is not too bad. All you need to do is just pry it out. So you can see that there's two pads, an inner and outer pad, and so this one, it has a couple of latches on the inside, and all you need to just like use a screwdriver and pry it out. It should come right out. There you go. So we're gonna go ahead and get this one pad out. So this pad is hooked up to the wear sensor. Just gonna get this removed. Yeah, it looks like it's popped right into where the bleeder is. So, all right. Pull it straight out. Oh, this just come right out from here too. Not sure I'm gonna need this or not. It's like a little piece. Okay. So that's the old sensor. So I can go ahead and just throw this one out. And this is what the pad looked like on the one side. This side, same thing. I believe you can just like pry it right out and leave everything else in there. There you go, and this is the other side. So at this point, I'm just gonna spray this real good, clean them up real good, and then use the clamp to force the piston in because this came out quite a bit, and then we'll reassemble. Okay, so now it's time to pull the piston back. You see that? So get this shifted in a little bit more. The piston is extended, you can't see from that angle, but it went in quite a bit because when the pads wear, it advances forward, so you're gonna have to like push it back, and it's really simple. You just use this C-clamp. I just use a little piece of wood just so I have some room to work with back there, and just keep like walking it back. Okay, I got the piston all the way back. You can see that this piston recessed all the way in, so it's ready for the new pads. So now the thing that I need to do is just pop this off right here. You see this little piece that's trying to like keep everything in place. And if you have it latched down to here, you really can't get the new pads in. So make sure you unlatch this first, have it come out of here, then you start putting the pads in. And at this point, I believe I'm going to see how this is going to work there. Not sure I can see my wear sensor on this side. I might install that last. Just push it in. Okay, so I'm gonna install that last. I'm gonna get this in first. But before that, you want to put like a bunch of these brake lubricants. Make sure that things are not creaking. And on this one, I would just put it like along where things going to rub. So this little wing here, that's where it's gonna go back and forward. So get some lubricants on there. Get it on both sides. And then it's going to contact in here, but you don't know exactly where it is, but the piston is making the contact, so I'm just going to rub this on the piston surface, and that should be good, so you don't have like extra lubricant laying around. Okay. Let's hope this goes in. Okay, so it was a challenge to get this pads in. It does come in, but it's like it doesn't want to align. You kind of just have to play around with it. It took me about, I don't know, 5 minutes or something like that trying to get it in. So it does come in, you just got to be patient and trying to get it aligned. Basically, you just push it in, make sure the two tracks are, make sure the pads are riding on two of the track, one on each side. And then, so the next thing I'm going to do is put the exterior pads on, and again, you want to put the brake quiet on the surface where it's going to rub, where it becomes in contact, and on this side, you put it on the caliper, and you can see where the surfaces that the pad's going to be in contact. Just make sure you get a good coat of stuff on there. Then again, you want to put on all this places where it's going to be rubbing. Right, I think we're done. So this doesn't have the three pieces that, the three latches that you have to deal with. So these, just make sure you have on the tracks. Yep, got on there pretty good. Just make sure you force it all the way in there. It should come in. Okay, so as in, this can be tilted a little bit. These two assemblies are separate, so you can tilt a little bit and try to get it in. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then we're gonna have to latch this back in. I don't like doing this because it's spring loaded, but gotta get it in there. See how we're gonna do this. The one side came up. I don't have a good way to get it in. I'm just prying it. Oh. One side to go. Yeah, just make sure your pads are stable. Don't let it move. Come on. Okay, got it. Alright guys, there you go. Everything is assembled. So now we're going to get it back on there, and hopefully I have room for, yeah, so you can see in there I can just push that sensor on there. That probably can go in, and then a little bit later. So now I'm gonna get this back on there, and there's only two bolts. These are two bolts right here, and we're gonna torque it up to 120 foot-pounds. So it's a lot of torque for being in there, but you gotta torque it up. All right, so let's get the rotor back on. Yeah, you wanna make sure that you clean like this area really well. I wire wheel the whole thing and then just clean it up with brake cleaner. I'm just gonna do the same thing on the inside of the rotor here. Just wanna make sure that everything is nice and clean when you reassemble it. All right, so you're gonna have to go find a little hole where that bolt goes into. Line it up there. Okay, now I'm gonna get the caliper on. It's just 2 bolts. Once you have 1 bolt on, and then you can just leave it. Try to get the other bolt on. Okay, so you have to apply 120 foot-pound of torque after you're done. That's going to be tough, so you're going to have to get a torque wrench and make sure you get that done. Alright guys, here's the sensor. It's really easy, and you can get like this entire caliper on and torque it before you put the sensor on. You just like push the sensor into the slot, and it's directional, but you can't go the other way. It won't fit. It only fit in one direction. So just push it in. It's like a little bulky piece that facing the rotor side, and then the other side is flat. So one way to get it pushed in. So don't forget to do that, and then make sure that this bolt right here get torqued to 120 foot-pound. I already did it. So now it's time to get the wheels back on, and we're done. Alright guys, so the last step is to torque these lug nut bolt. These are bolts. You gotta tighten them up to 103 foot-pound. They seem a little bit light, but I double checked on the manuals, and it calls for 103. So I'm probably gonna hit it with 105 foot-pounds, and that's it. Just make sure you use a really nice torque wrench like this one that I'm using, and just torque them up, and the project's done. You guys, the job's completed. Took about, I would say about 4 hours, 4.5 hours altogether. Now that's not including the trip to O'Reilly to get the rotors turned. So just be prepared for like an entire day, whether it's Saturday or Sunday, so you can get this done and not having your car tied up during the week. Overall, it's not too bad. It's just you gotta manhandle some stuff, be patient. Now, one thing to remember is that the master cylinder reservoir, now that you push a lot of fluid back into it, make sure that you have the cap open and have a towel or something there in case it's overflow. In my case, it did overflow a little bit because I pushed a lot of it back in there, and at some point I was filling it because it was low. So make sure you do that. Now I'm going to start up the vehicle and then apply brakes until the brake engage, because you got to push all that fluid back in again. Check the level with the master cylinder, and then you should be done. That is it. I hope you guys find the video is helpful. Like the content, please like and subscribe. Thank you.